And Shashi Tharoor has done it yet again, and he has sparked a new political storm with his latest remarks. The senior Congress leader, while commenting on the CJP-led protest at the Jantar Mantar, admitted that Rahul Gandhi's Chhatro ki Goonj campaign did not resonate with the youth. He said that his party's campaign failed to get the kind of response that the CJP got, even though their issues were familiar. Tharoor called for introspection, saying that the party may need to study why the campaign did not gather the youth's attention.
The entire logic of the RSS's existence is the promotion of a particular notion of Hindutva and of India as a Hindu Rashtra. So that core identity, core ideology has not been diluted. But what it means, for example, is being diluted. So Mr. Bhagwat has said, for example, that Hindu Rashtra does not mean there is no place for Muslims, for example, or for Christians. He has said that as far as he's concerned, an India without Muslims would not be an India at all. Now, those are statements you would not have imagined one of his predecessors 40 years ago saying, or 50 years ago, or 60 years ago. And I think that the fact that at the centenary year of the RSS, they are making these conciliatory noises, it is partially encouraging in its own right as an idea, but partially it may also be a reflection of the fact that now they have essentially been tasting power for a dozen years. And with power, they realize comes responsibility. You can't afford to say the kinds of incendiary things your leaders used to say when you had 2% of the vote, which is what the Hindutva movement had at the time that Golwalkar was leading the RSS. So there is now a difference. There is a change. Does that mean that Mr. Bhagwat, who in any case is not a politician, he's the head of what he calls a cultural organization, does that mean that what he's saying has political implications? I believe it does, because everyone understands the relationship between the RSS and the ruling party of India, the BJP. And therefore, when he says something, it is a lesson or a message that is also heard by politicians in the BJP. We have to be conscious of the fact, all the opposition parties, that we didn't provide a route into our parties for the kinds of people who were in Jantar Mantar last month. And to my mind, that is actually something we really need to examine. How do young people get into established parties where there are hierarchies, entrenched establishments, dynastic considerations, political networks? How does a new young person come in? And if they come in, what do they get to do? To stand behind the established leaders, to make up the numbers in mass rallies, to do sort of foot soldier work? Can they actually be the people who make the difference? And I think one thing that I've been arguing, we haven't had an opportunity to have an internal discussion about this in any forum that I'm part of, but that's why I use the public space to make this point. I think we really, as the American expression goes, need to wake up and smell the coffee. Let not our epitaph be that we were bypassed or became irrelevant because we failed to listen. And what Rishabh has said, something that echoes with me. The established parties will cease to be relevant unless they can listen to the new voices that they haven't heard so far. And I think, frankly, we should have started hearing them already with this. Interestingly enough, the issues taken up by the CJP and the Jantar Mantar protesters had been taken up by us earlier. We had a Chhatro ki Goonj thing, where Rahul Gandhi was addressing students about the paper leaks, about the things and so on.
And that didn't resonate, sorry to interrupt, but that didn't resonate as much as this did.
Correct. And that's why we need to ask ourselves, what did we fail to do? Did we fail to listen? Did we fail to tap into the old cliche of having your finger on the pulse of the people? Was our finger missing from the pulse of Gen Z?
Tharoor also praised RSS chief's remarks, as we heard, on Gen Z, saying that he has observed a change in Bhagwat's remarks, signaling a shift. However, he went on to say that RSS's ideology hasn't changed and their aim is to advance the country as a Hindu nation.